Hello gardeners, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to share my top 5 tips for growing big, beautiful onions right at home. Onions are one of those staple crops that can be a little tricky if you don't know a few key secrets. So I've gathered some tips directly from professional onion farmers so you can apply them at home and grow a huge onion harvest. If you're new here, hello and welcome. My name is Jara. I've been gardening all of my life and I'm a professional seed and plant nursery. I love to share my knowledge and teach others how to garden and grow food. So you've come to the right place if you want to improve your gardening skills. And by the way, if you're looking for high quality onion transplants or seeds, you can find them on my website. So let's get into these 5 tips for growing big, beautiful onion bulbs. The first and probably the most important tip, if you don't get anything else from this video, is to choose the right variety of onion for your region. Onions are classified into 3 categories based on day length: short day, long day, and intermediate day varieties. Let me explain. In general, onions grow leafy greens or leaves, also called onion tops, when the weather is cool, and starts growing a bulb when the weather warms up. Because of this, if you're a cold climate gardener, you would plant onions when it's cool in early spring so they start bulbing up and are ready for harvest in the summer when things start to warm up. In the southern parts of the United States with hot climates that have mild winters, onions are planted when it's cool during the fall and winter so they start bulbing up in spring when things start to warm up. That's a general, easy way to understand it, but what's really going on is that onions are a day-length sensitive crop. They are triggered to start the bulbing process according to the available amount of daylight hours. If you're more up north, growing onions from spring through summer when daylight hours are longer, you need to choose long day onions that bulb up when exposed to the long days of summer. If you're located in the southern parts of the United States, where onions are grown during the fall and winter to be harvested in spring, you must choose short day onion varieties because they are being grown during the part of the year with the shortest days or less daylight hours. Intermediate day onions work well in areas that are kind of in the middle of the United States with mild winters and moderate day length. Make sure you're choosing a variety suited to where you live because planting the wrong type could result in smaller bulbs. A professional farmer once told me that this is one of the most common mistakes home gardeners make. So start off on the right foot by selecting the correct onion variety. On to the next tip. Onions are a long season crop, meaning they take a while to mature, so you need to give them a head start if you're growing them from seed. Professional farmers often begin by planting seeds 10 to 12 weeks before their target date of transplanting them into the garden. They are slow growing and literally take 3 months to get to size from seed. If you don't want to start from seed, or maybe it's too late and you're already at the time that you should be planting them into the garden, then purchase onion transplants. Don't just be starting them from seed or they won't have enough time to grow into nice large size bulbs. I have a few varieties of onion transplants on my website if you need some. Now here's a lesser known tip. Onions should be planted shallowly. You don't want to bury them too deep because the bulb needs to push up and expand above the soil line. A professional grower told me that planting onions about 1 inch deep is perfect for bulb development. Spacing is just as important. Give each onion at least 4 to 6 inches of space so they have enough room to grow those large bulbs we're aiming for. Overcrowded onions will compete for nutrients, resulting in smaller, misshapen bulbs. I like to space my onions in rows that are 2 feet apart, with each individual onion transplant spaced 6 inches apart. This is so easy for me to do because I use flat drip tape to water my onions, which has built-in emitters that are already spaced 6 inches apart. I'll put info in the description to the supplies I use for my drip irrigation system. One of the key secrets I learned from onion farmers is that onions are heavy feeders and they need a lot of nutrients, especially nitrogen, early in their growing cycle. This is because the more leaves the onion plant has, the more energy it can capture from the sun to grow a big bulb. Also, each onion plant leaf translates into 1 layer of the final onion bulb. The more leaves you can grow early on before your onions start the process of bulbing up, the more layers, which translates into bigger bulbs at harvest time. To accomplish more leaf growth, use nitrogen-rich fertilizer since that is the nutrient responsible for leafy green growth. Apply the fertilizer in the planting hole and then fertilize again every 2 to 3 weeks during the first 2/3 of their growing season. The most common high nitrogen fertilizer used by onion farmers is ammonium sulfate, which is 21% nitrogen by weight. And that's pretty much all that they use. Ammonium sulfate is a synthetic fertilizer. You can go with organic fertilizers, but it's near impossible finding an organic option that delivers as much nitrogen as ammonium sulfate. The highest organic nitrogen-rich fertilizer or amendment that I could find is blood meal, which has around 13% nitrogen by weight, just to show the difference. Tip number 5 is onions need consistent moisture, but they don't like soggy soil. Make sure to water them regularly, especially during dry spells, but avoid waterlogging the soil. Too much water can lead to disease or bulbs rotting out, which will ruin your crop. If you live in humid humid and rainy areas like me here in Florida, I highly recommend you plant onions in raised beds, grow bags, containers, or even a green star garden tower, because this will help keep the soil on the dry side. A drip irrigation system is ideal because it provides even moisture without oversaturating the soil. If you're watering by hand, aim for about 1 inch of water per week. Always water early in the day so the foliage dries out by evening time, which will help prevent a lot of fungal issues. If you made it to the end of this video, I have a bonus tip for you. This is a tip that I just found out about, and I can't wait to try to see if it makes a difference in bulb size. A classic sign that your onions are ready for harvest is when the onion tops or leaves start to bend over. Some farmers will wait for 50% of the leaves to bend, and then they will manually go through and bend the rest of them down. Apparently, this bending sends signals for the onion to focus more on bulbing up so that they are bigger in size when you harvest them out a few weeks later. Have any of you tried this? Some say it works, some say it doesn't, so please comment and let me know how it turned out for you if you have done this. All right, those are my top 5 tips, plus a bonus for growing large onions in your own home garden. I am a huge onion lover, and I can't stress how much more intense and flavorful homegrown onions are compared to those purchased at the grocery store. Totally worth the time and effort to grow. I hope these tips from the pros help you have a successful harvest this season. Don't forget to visit my seed and plant website to order onion plants and seeds. If you found this video helpful, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more gardening tips, and let me know in the comments if you're planning on growing onions this year. Happy gardening, and I'll see you in the next video.